Well, hello everyone. Jerry Murphy is my name from the Over the Line programme on Galway Bay FM. And we're here at Audi Galway because we have a very special interview for you today. And that is, of course, Audi Galway Ambassador Joe Canning following his retirement. And we're going to talk to Joe very, very shortly. But first, I want to talk to Pádraig Keating, the General Manager here at Audi Galway. Pádraig, first of all, thanks very much for the invitation to come along to your beautiful premises.
Many thanks to yourself and Sean for coming along. Delighted to have you here this evening, and also in the company of, I suppose, our brand ambassador Joe, who has been, I suppose, a fantastic servant for both county, club, and indeed for ourselves here in Audi over the years. So delighted to have you here and looking forward to the conversation and chats.
You and I know each other for a long, long time, and the array of machinery that's here at the moment is spectacular. Business good?
Business excellent at the moment, yes. Lots of money on deposit in the country, Jerry, at the moment, and people are very eager and anxious to spend accordingly. So Audi is no doubt top of their shopping list.
Well, we wish you the best. We'll talk to you a little bit later on as well. Pádraig, again, thanks very much for having us here. Delighted to be here and looking forward to talking to Joe.
Thanks very much.
Like I said, we're here in Audi Galway for a very special reason, to talk to Audi Galway Ambassador Joe Canning, who joins us here. Joe, how are you?
I'm good now, yeah.
Yeah, that's good. And with me this evening is our own Sean Walsh, our hurling commentator. And Sean, you probably have watched more of Joe Canning than any other person in Galway right throughout his career, from minor right up till his retirement, which is a great pity for us all. But this is the time, I suppose, for Joe. Your initial thoughts when somebody mentions the name Joe Canning to you?
Class. And I suppose the one thing that really struck me, and I don't know, I think you were coy enough about it, Joe, and it's the recent happening, to think that a Galway man has finished as the all-time championship top scorer. I know, look, it probably will be surpassed, but that must be a proud moment.
Yeah, it'll be surpassed fairly quickly, I'd say, all right. Yeah, it's not something that, I've always said it wasn't something that I set out to do or anything like that. And I suppose it's nice to have it, and it's nice for people to acknowledge it, I suppose. But you know, the individual things when you play a team sport just don't really matter at the end of the day when you look back on stuff. But yeah, it won't be a record for much longer with Pat Horgan staying around anyway.
Nice to have it though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is for the time being anyway, yeah.
And it must be a retirement, Joe, when I'm talking to you here in the luxurious surroundings of Audi Galway, because this is not outside a dressing room, or it's not down a dark dungeon somewhere talking to you. Yeah,
it's a little bit nicer right here, isn't it? Yeah, we're surrounded by nice cars anyway. So
we could get used to this now.
Yeah.
Listen, Jerry talked about minor. I think there was a bit of talk about you for a while, under 14, I think under 16, I remember, down in the Nina Co-op.
Yeah.
I think that's the last time Galway actually won the under 16 when you were involved.
Oh, was it?
Yeah,
we won two.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, what was it, 4 and 5, was it, or something, or 3 and 4, around that time. Yeah, we beat, actually, speaking of Patrick Horgan, he was playing against Cork that time as well, and we beat a Wexford team as well after a replay. Liam Griffin was over them, so I don't think we were really expected to win the cups, because we didn't win any under 14 or anything like that the years gone by, but they were good times, all right. I remember Shane Long was actually playing against us with Tipperary. I think, Skehill was singing a few songs to him, I think, that time back then. But
no Premiership tickets winged their way since or anything.
Not to Skehill anyway. But yeah, those were good times, all right, back then, and still good friends.
On to our first photo on the screen this evening. You played in 3 minor finals. You won 2.
Yeah, that's back
good days as well.
Yeah, they were good days. It was back in the Gaelic gear days as well. I think it was 0-5, I think it was. So we won 4 or 5 and lost in 6. So they were, like, that was the backbone, I suppose, of those 2 under 16 All Ireland winning titles. So it was unfortunate we didn't do the 3 in a row, I suppose, at the time, but Matty Murphy was over us that time, and like the difference, I suppose now, and I'm looking at like my nephews and stuff playing. We were always told by Matty, like, if you weren't playing on your first team with the club, you were no good to him, minor level. So we were all like playing, I suppose, at senior club level. Like I started when I was 15 playing with Portumna Seniors. So I think that was more of a thing to get on the minors nearly more so than anything, because like
it was the carrot almost to make your club team and get on.
For sure, because Matty, like, he believed that like playing senior club hurling in Galway would have strengthened you up and got you ready for inter-county minor, and it was probably right.
Out of the underage, you won the under-21, so it was nice to get all those boxes ticked, wasn't it?
Yeah, I was obviously very lucky. Like, it was my second year, I think, under-21, because I actually went in on my last year minor. I think I only went in for, I think I was invited in like the Thursday night before the game, and I came on against Kilkenny in the semi-final after, I don't know, 20-30 minutes or something like that. So we lost that game though. That was the bad thing about it. But then the following year we won it again, like John Lee and all, Jerry Mahan and them kind of guys. So we had won the minor obviously with that team as well before. So we were unlucky, I think, in the years then after that at under-21 not to win more. I think we lost Kilkenny and Clare in two semi-finals.
Right.
So you
went on then, I suppose. We see the rock on yourself here. That first year, you made some impact, kid, on the championship.
Yeah, it's funny, and it's always actually a bugbear of mine about that like with the photo of the rock there. People say, "Oh, you like done very well on the rock that day," but like I think I marked him for the goal that I got. Yeah. I'd say I was on him for a max 5 minutes in the whole game. I think I got 5 points off John Gardner, and Sean O'Galpine was on me as well. Like, but that actually, I don't know if it annoys the rock, but it annoys me that people actually
You'd like
think
to have spent more time in his company.
Well, no, but like it's just the fact that for him, people actually say that I marked him nearly the whole game, when in fact that's not the truth. So I don't know how he feels about it, because the guys kind of got away scot-free in a way from that. But that was kind of when we lost that day though, so that was another disaster after that.
It was the end of the Lucknan era.
Yeah. So it was.
It was a frustrating time in Galway, wasn't it? Those years, the team was there, but not quite. There was no cigar,
Yeah, for sure. Like we were losing matches by 1-2 points. Like I don't think we ever really got hammered out the gate in any like semi-final or quarter-finals as it was then, because I don't think we reached the semi-final until like 2012. So it was 3 or 4 years before you got past the quarter-finals. A lot of the first few years you were getting knocked out at race week, and you were drowning your sorrows in next door here. But on like those couple of years were a little bit frustrating, because you felt like you were only a point or two, but realistically you were probably a good distance away, because the likes of Kilkenny and Cork were very dominant at the time, and Tipperary obviously as well at that time. So
and the structure too, Joe. Remember, there was all kinds of. It was like as if they were fitting Galway in. We were coming in different stages, but I suppose the move to Leinster probably brought a little bit of structure to it in a way, didn't it?
Yeah, that helped massively, I think, and like it gave us. The more times we played the likes of Kilkenny, the better we were going to be. And I think it actually helped the Leinster Championship. Now, they mightn't think that, but it definitely made it. It definitely made it more competitive, but it definitely helped us to try and get up to the standard that Kilkenny were setting. And like we had some fairly good games against them down through the years, and probably 2012 when Anthony came in, I think he changed the mindset of the players. Like, I firmly believe that we probably wouldn't have won an All-Ireland if we didn't do the training that Anthony put us through a couple of years before that. Like, we done some savage running with Anthony.
Year, did you play? Was it DCU or someone up in
UCD?
UCD, you went training.
We went running out the back. Like that was his.
It was nearly.
But it was a mind. It was mindset stuff, because we were kind of known as a soft kind of a team. If you got on top of Galway, they'd dwindle off. And to be straight up, it probably was the truth. So like Anthony changed the mentality of us hugely, I thought. Now, when you're in it, you like torture going training and stuff.
Yeah.
But the benefit in the long term, I think, for the likes of lads around my age group and the kind of like the backbone of that team in 17, I think we would have done a lot of the hard training when Anthony was involved with us. And it kind of separated, like, you know, the guys that didn't really want to
do it. Yeah, you
go
also
the extra.
weed out, don't you?
Yeah. So for me, when Anthony came in, it was definitely a thing that progressed us even more and gave us that little bit of a hard edge that we weren't going to be pushed over as easily as we were in years before, you know.
12 then, I mean, the Leinster final was a big one, obviously. The All-Ireland final, the goal, fantastic goal. The equalising free, Joe.
Yeah.
And I suppose I want to touch on it, like the pressure when you're standing over a free like that. Like at the time when you were hitting that free, is it going through your head like this is not a free down in Gortanummer and another 13 game, or do you keep that away? Are you in the zone?
It's funny what things go through your mind. Like remember Derby, Davy Glennon won the free, fell down, and won
did
the
it
free.
well in fairness to him.
Yeah. But he gave me the ball. He handed me the ball and he just went, best luck. And I kind of went, oh, fair enough. And I kind of smiled inside myself for a second going, fair enough. And he got down these hunkers and I could see him in my peripheral vision kind of. He was just down these hunkers and it was as if he had the hurl here, as if he was praying. I don't know what he was at, but I actually mishit that free.
Go ahead.
Yeah. That free actually went just over the bar. I actually didn't connect sweetly
and
with
when
it.
you connected, did you say I'm in trouble here?
I thought, for a second, I actually, if you look at that free, it went very low, and I don't hit my frees low, like. But
so you were winning that over the bar as it was.
But it didn't like it. 2 or 3 seconds probably to get over, but I actually hit that free. Yeah, it's funny, like, and like I missed a free that people remember probably even more a few minutes before, and I hit it perfect and it went wide.
15, the no-look goal, Joe.
Yeah.
Against Kilkenny. That was sheer class. Let's take a look at it here now. Do you remember?
Terrible ball by Andy. It actually was, like, it's
when you look at that now, what do you see or what do you say?
It was just
instinctive
instinct
at the moment.
Yeah. That's nothing that I could try any time. Like that was just. I actually like looked for the ball out the front because there was loads of space. Like, and Andy just hit it as long as he could. Like, and it was. That's all it was. It wasn't. And like
predetermined.
9 times out of 10, I'll probably fall on my arse and I turn there. Do you know what I mean? So, it's great for spectators and stuff like that. But, it's nice to do. But like, I'd never be able to do it again. Probably. It's one of them things. But
15, there was frustration.
Yeah.
Another chance got a begging. Mihal came in. 16, you suffered one of your biggest injuries.
Yeah.
And ironically, even in the retirement from the inter-county game back with the club, you've now done an injury very similar to it as well now.
Very similar, yeah. It's mad. I was like talking about like injuries when I retired, and it's harder to get back and mind the body and stuff like that. And the first club championship match, I've done the exact same injury as I'd done in 19 with
you just wouldn't do a hamstring or something simply. You
I have to do a tendon.
Big style again,
So tore the tendon off the pubic bone again. So, yes, like 15 All-Ireland, that was frustrating. Because obviously we were winning by a bit at half time and then just didn't turn up. But like, we weren't good enough. That's the simple fact of it. Like, if you're in All-Ireland and you don't win, my thing is anyway, you're just not good enough on the day, and that's, you have to take it on the chin and move on. And that was a strange time. being a
all
Galway
the-
hurler
yeah.
because of what happened to Anthony, and that was tough to deal with, because it was in the public and stuff like that, and there was different stories going on, and nobody really knows the truth of the whole situation.
It was an ongoing saga, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
it was. And people have to realise, and as I said earlier on, like, I don't think we would have won without Anthony's input the couple of years previous to that. And Micheál then brought it to another level, obviously. But 16, we were...
You were in great shape at 16 in that half-time yourself. You went with injury, Tuhi went with injury as
myself
well.
and Edo,
And
Edo
there was
done
still
the
a one-point
shoulder.
ball game. Tip went on to fairly look after Kilkenny in the final.
They did, yeah. So we were...
You were knocking on the door, like.
We were knocking on the door, and like 17 then, just everything just, I wouldn't say ran smoothly, because I remember the league, I think we lost to Wexford inside in the stadium,
that's right,
and like people went mad, like.
Correct,
Like I remember Micheál coming into us, and like the abuse he got
Yes.
that day.
My memory of that game was the abuse that went into the radio station that evening, Jerry, on that game.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable, and it was something that was book referenced at the end of the year in an interview I did with Micheál, that you went from there. You destroyed Tip in the league final. You won everything, and then won the All-Ireland.
Yeah, it was funny because we played, I think it was Waterford in a quarter final of the league that time.
In the
And
stadium.
I think could have been
You were well down,
10 points down or something at one stage. And we just got a bit of momentum near the end of the match, and we came back and won it by 1 or 2 in the end. And then we played Limerick and won that handily enough, and then played Tip. And like, if you were to say to us before the match, would you beat Tip today? You were probably going, it's going to be, they're All-Ireland champions. They cruised through the league until the league final. But it was it's funny how like 70 minutes can change a group's dynamic, a group's belief. And that's all it was. It was belief that, geez, we're actually up at this level now. Because as I said, Tip were after winning the All-Ireland, and they cruised through the league. Like, they were beating teams left, right and centre. And for us then to do that. And then the Dublin game in the Leinster Championship was... we were lucky enough, actually. If you look back at that, I think they got a goal disallowed just before half-time. And if they got that, I think we would have been nearly level or down a point at half-time.
Momentum again.
So we came out. We won it handily in the second half, all right. But it was funny how things kind of just petered on, and then I think it was Wexford in the Leinster final, and then obviously Tip semi-final, Waterford final. But we got the breaks. Like, it's lucky. You don't. I don't believe you win ever without a small bit of luck. You need the breaks. And we got the breaks that year. Like, we won everything we could, I think, that year, and it was a special year, I suppose. 17,
We're looking at a picture of the famous point in the semi-final against Tip.
Last minute of injury time. He's inside his own 45. That is short. Dropping in dangerously, however. Oh! Goalkeeper made a great save. James Barry gets it away. Well done to Brendan Gleeson, or Darren Gleeson rather, to keep that one out. And it comes out to Johnny Cohen. Galway looking for it.
I often think why Johnny turned around.
I know.
Do you know?
That's another iconic moment, though, isn't it? I mean...
Yeah, but like...
But again, I'd go back to, it happens instinctively on the moment.
Yeah, like a few minutes before that, I got a point just from the same place nearly. So like...
Is confidence a major factor in, like, when you were in the zone, when you know you're,
Yeah, but like, I missed, like, I could have been probably taken off at half time in that match. I think I missed maybe 2 or 3 frees, and things didn't go right for me in the first half.
Is that mindset then that you park and it's the next ball?
Well, yeah, that's everybody says that. Like any good sports psychologist or whoever, management to tell you, like, oh, don't worry about the last ball, go for the next one. But
That can be tricky too.
Yeah, and there's no point in saying it's not. With me, I was always my own worst critic and harshest critic. So if I thought I'd done something wrong, it would play on my mind why it went wrong.
In game even?
Yeah. I've often dwelled on stuff like that, but for the second half, the last probably 20 minutes or something like that, it just kind of flowed then, you know. But it was just right, like, as I said, I don't know why Johnny Cohen turned around. Like, why? Like, there's no reason for him there because he didn't hear me because the crowd, like, you can't hear in Croke Park when you're playing. Like, another time he probably would have stayed going down the line and tried to hit it himself, you know. So for that, I was just lucky that I got up the field after missing the free. And people have to remember, Bubbles Dwyer had a shot.
He had straight out,
and he probably should have got it. I think we played league, against him. I don't know, it was around that time in Pearse Stadium, and he got actually a point to put us into, I think it was like a relegation match against Cork or something like that, to draw the match. Same kind of thing. So he probably should have got that point to draw the match, and then like that point wouldn't have been anything. But
before we even go on to that, often in interviews I've heard you talk about pressure and dealing with the pressure, and I suppose those iconic moments probably heaped more pressure on your shoulders to a degree. Like, did you feel at times that, Jesus, I have to deliver here today, or I have to do something special? Was that a part of the big match build-up for you?
I never thought I had to do something special.
Okay.
But I always had a massive pressure on myself to do my job.
Right, okay.
If you know what I mean.
I do. Nail the frees, etc., etc.
Yeah. Like, control the kind of controllables in a way. That was the biggest part of me, and try and influence the game and try and influence what we wanted to do in the game. Always like to contribute in some way, and even like that All-Ireland final, people say it probably wasn't my best game, but like I thought I actually contributed to the start of it fairly well, as in was wing forward, started off and I hit the first 2 or 3 balls just in, we got scores off it, like, and that kind of thing for me would be what I'd be thinking of coming into the game, of get your hand on the ball fairly quickly, do something good with it, not kind of, oh, you have to score a goal or you have to score a point. It's
the setting it up is as important as the taking.
100% for me, because like I kind of grew up that like you need everybody working at different roles. Like, even going back to Bertumna, like, we had guys that were workhorses and made it life way more easy for the likes of probably me and Hazy inside in the full forward line to finish off things, whereas you'd likes of Andy Smith, your Leo Smith, Owen Lynch's, these guys that Junkie, that like worked so hard. And like for me, I probably around that time, and I wanted to be the hardest worker nearly. And that, like, people didn't see me as that. People had this thing of in full forward, grab a ball, score a goal, and that's what
you wanted more than that.
Like, I wanted more than that.
Joe, what kind of a person were you the night before a big game? Did you rest well? Did you sleep, or were you? Was it on your mind?
I wasn't too bad, I think. Like, so before, like, it's funny enough, before the 17, I was living in Oranmore here with Davy Burke and Johnny Glynn and Davy Glennon. And I remember going down to the...
You a lot of places.
He did, yeah. No, we only lived in Oranmore together now. But me and Davy Burke actually went down to the field in Marry, down to the ball one. I was taking a few frees on the pitch as well, and I don't know, Davy will probably kill me for saying this, but he wasn't feeling. He said, "Jeez, I think I'm going to faint or something. So we actually went up to the shop and got a can of Coke and a load of jelly.
This is the night before
The evening before the match, yeah. And Davey went into the can of Coke and a few jellies anyway. And he felt better again. I don't know what. He went out and got man the match the following day, like 4 points in play.
it worked.
Yeah,
Don't
so
knock it when
like
it works, yeah.
them kind of things. No, I'm not. Like would have watched the Up for the Match and stuff like that. I always would have like. I never would have shut myself off from
The build-up.
the reality of what's happening. Of like, I didn't kind of go like, oh, I need to get off social media for the week or anything like that. Even though sometimes you probably do need to. Like you heard the Tyrone lads there saying, oh, shut off from that. But everybody to their own. Like, there's no one shoe fits everybody, you know.
Joe, just in terms of 17, two iconic photographs and pieces of film that was seen was, first of all, you going over to your mum and dad on the sideline, and second of all, standing on the pitch beside Margaret Keady and the kids. Now, there was a lot made of Tony that year, obviously. Were you conscious of doing that, or is that just something that Joe Canning would normally do?
Neither. Like, I don't know if it's either. That just happened. I think I was standing actually beside Mihal, and next thing, Margaret and the kids came on, and I think the young lads just took off running with Mihal's young lads, and Shannon and Margaret were just there, and I think John Hines was there as well. And we were just standing there, and like, that's all it was. Like, it wasn't a conscious decision to go, geez, I better stay here now. Like, I didn't. For me, the wind, it was like just a pressure valve released after winning. So I was trying to take in as much as I could, and I was just standing down the pitch looking up at Davy and accepting the cup and all the boys going up, and I always looked for Mum and Dad then after a match, because I know they'd be kind of wanting to say hello or whatever. So like, even the photo that went around, I actually got presented with a photo of Mum and my dad. I think it was 2 or 3 times. Yeah, Dad was actually in the background. Yeah, it's this one here. That's actually Dad back here. And that man, I think he's actually a Lee Mellows man. But yeah, like, all my family were kind of in that area. Well, a few of them. So, like, Ivan and Trini and Maura, 2 sister-in-laws, and Ivan, the brother. Like, I was very conscious of trying to meet them. That's what I play for, like, Mum and Dad.
And I suppose, going back to the Portumna days, the influence that Ivan and Holly and the others had on you, you were the younger one of the crew. It must have been, they must have had a huge influence on your playing career.
Oh, definitely. And like, even still, like, it's amazing when you're playing a match what voices you hear roaring in the stand, and who you can hear roaring at you. Like, even in the Waterford match, I could hear Ivan and Dad out of the whole crowd.
In Thurles.
In Thurles, So like, it's funny that way. But yeah, they shaped me. Like, they shaped me in every way, personality, sporting wise. Like, there was me and Ivan. I suppose there was like 7 years between me and him, so he kind of dragged me up, or whatever way it was, playing hurling out at home and bringing me to matches, and Ollie and Davy and Deirdre, actually. Like, I would have went to a load of camogie training with Deirdre. She was involved with the Galway juniors back in the 90s, and I was probably at most of them trainings before going to senior inter-county training with Ollie and Davy. So like, Deirdre would have brought me to most of my games, even growing up and training and stuff, and so she would have influenced me a lot as well, and kind of exposing me to obviously inter-county camogie training and stuff like that. So all them things and all the lads would have shaped me, I suppose, in different ways, and influenced me in different ways.
And things have obviously changed a bit in Portumna. That hugely successful team that you come onto and were part of, I suppose things are a little bit lower now in Portumna. Have you in mind maybe to start becoming even more influential out there?
Yeah, I think it actually started to dwindle when Greg and the boys beat us in the 2014, I think, county final. That was the last time we were in the county
Greg
final.
Of this house, of course.
Yeah, Greg Lally,
Audi
yeah.
Galway,
Yeah, exactly. So Gort beat us in that county final in 2014. We haven't got back since. But like we had phenomenal years with Portumna, like for people I don't think realise the size of our parish. Like we're 5 miles basically. I'm on the edge of the parish to Killimer, and like we have a kind of a semicircle of a parish because obviously of Tipperary over the bridge. So I think what we achieved from, let's say, 2003 to 2000 Paddy's Day 14, it's hard to comprehend the success we had. I think like we were in 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We were in all them county finals, and then 13 and 14 again. And we played in like 5 Club All-Irelands and won 4. So for the group of players we had, and it was based off a county minor B and a county minor A from 98 and 99, they were kind of the backbone of that team, of the club. So for what we got out of that group of players, I think was phenomenal.
And if you look at the All-Ireland Club Championship as a whole, from a Galway point of view, probably the most successful county since it's all started. Is that a pointer towards how serious the county championship is in Galway and the quality of it?
I think it is. Like, I think even, like, you probably see, I don't know how many different teams have won it over the last number of years, but St. Thomas's have won a few, Gort won a few, and there's 1 or 2 more, obviously. Yeah. But even just county titles.
Times, yeah.
But even just county titles, the different teams that have won it over the last number of years. The competitiveness of club championship hurling in Galway was always strong. So that only bodes well, obviously, for county teams as well. But yeah, it was like they were some of the best days of my life playing club championship. Do you know?
And Joe, you had a super team.
Yeah.
But looking back, what really must really be nice is you used it. Like, you made hay, the old adage, you made hay.
Yeah, we did. Like, because, like, you'd often think, like, we played, like, Loughrea a lot of the time, right? And they had a brilliant club team. And if we weren't there and they maybe won all that, you'd wonder, would they might have been like us, you know, winning Club All-Irelands. And the likes of Clarenbridge at that time, even Athenry,
there was nothing easy in Galway.
There was nothing easy, and there still isn't.
Yeah.
Like like you could pick 4 or 5 teams now that could win the county championship. Now it's not like we're at a different level now, but things come in circles.
Yes.
You know what I mean, and in cycles. And it is. It's funny. Like, we have a lot of young guys now playing. I suppose like we have probably 3 or 4 18-year-olds playing on our club team now. And then we have guys that are 20, 21, 22. And then we kind of have a break to nearly me at 33. So, like, well, I'm actually not 33 yet. That's next month. I'm getting ahead of myself. But like, we punched above our weight there for a few years as well. And even staying up senior A for a while. But, like, the hardest thing for us is we had a core group that we had, I think, 8 retirements in 1 year, and they were 8 first teamers. Yeah. So like
that sucks the base and the structure out.
No matter what, we were obviously, as a club, you were very loyal to the guys that had won all around them before that, and like, guys were playing into their late 30s and they just couldn't give anymore. And like, when you have 8 guys coming off a team, no matter what club you are, you're going to have to rebuild for a while. But we'll see how we go. You know, it's sport at the end of the day. It's not the end of the world, like, so. That's the way it goes. It goes in cycles.
Tell us, Joe, retirement. I mean, you caught a lot of us on the hop now, right?
Yeah.
We say coming out of 18, could have been 16, 17, 18, could have been 2, 3 in a row. 19, obviously, there was the disappointment of the early legs that you suffered that injury as well against Waterford in the league semi. 20, I mean, was it 7 sideline cuts? You hit 4 alone against Limerick. At what stage did retirement start coming into your head? Obviously, you didn't walk into the dressing room after you were beaten by Waterford. It was obviously a thought process. And what was driving that thought process for you?
I think it was down to injuries and how, like, I train and how my body withstood inter-county training at the moment. If we beat Limerick and probably got to an All-Ireland and in 2020?
2020, yeah. When you were,
I was probably going to, like, that's your ideal situation, to go in an All-Ireland final and hopefully win it and go. It was there, yeah. Yeah, it was there because, like, even last year, like, I never got a full run of a couple of weeks training. There was always something niggling away, and like by the time of the Waterford match, like I had, like I broke kind of my thumb before, and I kind of damaged ligaments in it again this year against Waterford. I tore a little bit of the hamstring, which was at me for probably 5 weeks after that. Then my heel as well. I had a pain in my heel.
So it was a combination.
So, like, there was loads of stuff. Like I was going in, and I was nearly afraid to tell the physios there's something else wrong with me today. Like, do you know? And that's the way it was. Like, I didn't even really tell them about my heel. I was just padding it up and trying to just get on with things. And it's not the way to. It's tough to realise that it's the end of the road, but you have to be big enough to actually admit that maybe it's time to go now. So it was on my mind. Like, obviously, I believed that we could win the All-Ireland this year and then be perfect. But once we lost to Waterford, I was on the field and that was it. Went over to Dad in the stand, and Ivan was there, and Mam was actually on the phone. I didn't realise because Mam didn't go to the match, so I just said to her on the phone. I said, "That's it. That's the last day." And I think she was surprised because nobody knew. Like, so I didn't tell anybody. Like, that was.
There was a shock factor. Like,
yeah. Like, I told Mam on the phone, told Dad, and I told Ivan, and I think a few more people that was around kind of heard it. I actually got a letter off a kid that was there. He wrote me a letter and he said, I was actually the kid that was beside you at the thing. Yeah, it was funny enough. Because I didn't think anybody else really heard it, but obviously the people there. And I told the lads in the dressing room then after.
And they kept it well now, in fairness.
Yeah, well, I asked them, and I asked the county board and everybody, because to be straight up, I wasn't even going to. I had the Borgosh Energy gig on the Wednesday. I knew I had that coming up, and it would have been easier if we'd won to do it, but I had to do it anyway. And I was contemplating whether I'd say it or not, because I didn't really want a big deal about it. And I actually told the off the ball guys that I wasn't. Well, I didn't say I was. I didn't say I wasn't, but and then an hour later I was doing the other media stuff in Portumna, and I was sitting in Ivan's house actually, and I actually rang Frank, the brother, just before, on the way out from the pitch out to Ivan's house, and I said, listen, they're going to ask me again about this, and is it just better off I just say it now and get it over and done with, because when I think about it more, it's not fair on the lads that I told them to keep it a secret, and then you're kind of delaying the thing, because it was even questions last year, should he retire or should he not? And that was in the media circles as well, so it was kind of like it was coming. And I said, yeah, we'll just do it now. So I actually had to apologise to the off the ball guys. they didn't get the scoop. But yeah, I done it there, and like none of the rest of the family knew. Mum and Dad knew, obviously. Ivan knew. That was just from the match, but I don't think they actually thought I was serious. They didn't know that I said it.
I think you're serious, mate.
No, I am. They still didn't know I said it to the lads after the match until that Wednesday. Frank knew because I rang him to see what to say, but like Ollie didn't know. Seamus, David, Deirdre. None of the rest of the lads knew. Only the panel, obviously. So yeah, no, that's it, and that's I'm happy enough with it. There's no turn back for me. That's it, right? It's as simple as that. I don't want to be hanging on either, and kind of like sometimes you can feel a bit of a fraud if you're not contributing to training or not training the whole time. Like even back in 16 coming back from the hamstring and 19 coming back from the groin, you're at training but you don't feel like you're contributing because you're doing all your stuff with your physio and your S&C coach trying to get back fit, but you're not actually in the middle of, as Davy Fitz says, those nice guys win nothing. Like he always said it in college. And you look at all the people that have won something, none of them on a field or on a course or whatever you want to put it, no matter what sport you're playing, a nice, like really polite and wasn't afraid to get down dirty and work hard, they won nothing. Like, so you always had to have that bit between your teeth to be a competitor.
The age had to be there.
Yeah. And like you didn't cross the line, but you were on the edge of it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely gave as good as I got on the pitch, and I suppose any lad that probably marked me would know that. But I respected a guy that would, like, whatever, go as hard as they could with me, and I go as hard as I could with that, and that was the end of it. Do you know? So yeah, I wouldn't have shied back from anything because I didn't like anybody walking all over me either.
Is coaching a route you've been?
I'm going to go back to Portumna, coaching like under 14s. Well, I have to chat Johnny Kelly about that. He's over them at the moment, but I was chatting to a few of the lads there in the club, and yeah, I'll go back and help out underage. Coaching like a club team or anything like that, like senior or like another club, I've no interest in and I wouldn't say helping out another club, but for the time being, I've only interest in trying to help out Portumna, to be straight up about it. So yeah, that's what I'll get involved with coaching wise. The Galway manager job, like Michael's the obvious candidate for a lot of people. Whether he goes for it or there's a lot of moving parts for Dad as everybody knows. So I think it was difficult the last couple of years as well, like with COVID and stuff, and like Shane and John and Fergal and Davy, they didn't get a fair crack at it really, a normal crack at it, if you know what I mean, with not being able to train and even small things like not being togging out in a dressing room. Like it's not the same togging out in a stand as it is togging out in a dressing room and having the crack. It's the camaraderie.
The injury is stopping you playing with the club at the minute, but as you get away from it as well, I was intrigued. You talked about the injury, and probably you said it was the first time that you wouldn't go for surgery.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have something to come back for, which it's probably a change for you too now, isn't it? Like,
yeah, in a way. Like it's like when I had the same injury back in 19, we obviously had the championship, the inter-county championship to try and get back for. So now if I got surgery, you'd be able to work for 6-7 weeks laid up, and we don't have anything to come back because it's going to be January. So yeah, it's going to be a bit different, and I won't know how I'll feel next. Do you know what I mean? Going in January, February next year, it is going to be interesting. But yeah, I've other interests. Like I'm busy enough work-wise with with like the Hurleys at home, the restaurants Camille and the Barn at Lone, Maisie's, and there's a few more. We're hoping to open up one in Galway here in the next few weeks, another restaurant and other bars and stuff like that. So I'm going to be busy in the next while, work-wise, and I enjoy playing golf. Yeah, as that picture was, like I do. I love playing golf, and like I used to love playing rugby as well. And there's boys. I live in Limerick now as well, in Castle Drive. So there's lads trying to sign me up to play stop down there and stuff like that. So there's always going to be other things, but like I won't be idle. There's all that stuff that I'll try and keep on and try and actually maybe get other interests. Who knows? Like next year, it could be training another team. You don't know, or getting involved underage with somebody.
Other doors may open.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm not going to say no to nothing, to anything, but at this moment in time, does like management interest me? Probably not. I don't think I have personality for it.
Thanks very much, Sean. We referenced him here a couple of times, Greg Lally, who is the sales manager for Audi Galway, and he's going to sit down beside you, Joe. But I would imagine you were side by side many times on the hurling field.
Yeah, like we grew up together basically. We're the same age. So like, obviously, county, 14s, 16s, minors, 21s, and senior, like the whole way up. We soldiered together all those years and played against each other. Then obviously at club level, we could never get past Gort underage. They were, he had Harty and all the lads as well. Like he won a couple of underage, like
yeah, he was 16.
16 and that. And I remember he was in Loughrea. It was an under 16 semi-final or something. I think you were hammering us, and we nearly came back and bet them, but we didn't. Killalay got a goal or something.
Greg, marking that guy on the field, I'm sure you sort of were head to head on a couple of occasions. Difficult.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, as I said, in underage, we might just that semi-final, right? On senior, we played each other good, but yeah, especially in the early years, we came across them. Unfortunately, it was our first county final in 27 or 8 years, and we came across them in their prime in 08, and they gave us a good lesson for the next 10 years how to play. They were just phenomenal, like all the up along. They were, the Bears really accounted the club scene at the time, and even the Ireland team when they went on to win their 4 Irelands, and they were brilliant for the county. At the time you looked up to them and you tried to be as good as they were or get to that level. And we played them up along as far as 14. They won their county final in 13. Played them in 14. Played them in 15 again. But like we would play them a good bit in senior level. We also played like when we were growing up then as well. I remember the first time I met Joe, I heard of Joe even, was back then in under 12. Like we used to come together in under 12 teams. There was a south, the north.
Yeah.
There was a city team, and then there was the east, obviously. We got together in Castlegar one day, years ago. I remember remember James Harty, Kevin Kane, and you remember a few of the names, like, and he was kind of coming on the scene that time, and you were always like, who was that lad? But in under 14, then we had the
Tony Forrest
down in Water. But I suppose the main time he would have come on the scene to me, like, was under 16, and that final he referenced there where Patrick Horgan was playing against us, and he kept us waiting for 10 weeks because he was involved with the minors at 16, and our under 16 went to replay as well. And I said the parents weren't too happy with him that time because we were waiting for his minor replay to be finished so we could play our final in under 16. And I think he shot 210 or 211 with 2 sidelines from 65 yards out in the replay down in Nina that day. And that's when I really knew who Joe Canning was. And all the way up along, we won minor together in 05. Unfortunately got beaten in 06 and so on up along, and had a few good days.
Greg, of course, playing with Gort, you wouldn't give him any lessons on how to take a penalty, would you?
I think he missed one alright last night. I think it was the lights though. He's saying he's not used to playing under lights in the evening, but they still won the match, so that's alright.
That's all that matters.
I've missed penalties before in my life.
2 matches won in the group so far, so you're in a healthy position.
Yeah. But it's early days, yeah. But good to get the 2 games.
Is he the obvious guy to put into a new Audi A6?
Yeah, he doesn't look bad in it now, right? No, fairness, yeah. He's getting a good run at it, so.
I'd be too big for any of the smaller ones.
He likes to put a bit of mileage up in them though, right? But sure, we'll let him away with that.
People see the car though, that's my excuse. At least I'm driving it around.
Yeah,
they're
but it's
seeing
a class car.
Yeah,
Joe,
it's
isn't
class.
it?
Yeah. It's unreal comfort. I was actually, my brother got one as well there the other day, so he was. We were comparing cars, and even influenced him to get one now. So yeah, they're a lovely car, the A6, alright, yeah.
Do you envy him that he's still playing, or are you okay with it?
Well, I'll still play at the club as well, like for the next while. So, I'd probably, his body's probably better than mine at this stage of our career. So, we'll stay trucking on as long as we can anyway, and hopefully enjoy a few more years with the club.
Sure, the most important thing, lads, is you stay friends. Isn't that what it's all about? Isn't that what the GAA is all about?
If he keeps giving me a car, I'll stay friends with him.
Anyway, listen, thanks, Joe, and thanks very much, Greg. It's been a pleasure talking to you. And that's it from us from Audi Galway. Many thanks to Pádraig Keating, the General Manager here at Audi Galway. It's been a pleasure to be here amongst all these nice cars and talking to Joe, Greg, and as well thanks to our own Sean Walsh. And until we do it again, bye-bye.